like I said, Hwang Sung-hoon and Jo Sung-hwan, some young guys, Kang Min-ho and So Na-sup, Jeon Jun-woo. Jang Sung-woo is our backup catcher. You're going to have new information today in this. I did the same thing for Team Israel when Team Israel beat Team.
And can you mention about who?
Josh Lindblom, Brooks Raley, and Jim Aduce. Yes, but when you read Wikipedia, I encourage everyone to go read it because it's fun to read, but it's not right.
So, okay, let's talk about the Lotte. You're known for a Lotte player. So who are the foreign players that you've played with Lotte back in 2010 to 2012?
Well, I mentioned Kareem Garcia.
Garcia.
And he does his sportscasting now in Mexico. I played with Brian Corey, who's now the pitching coach of the Las Vegas Aviators, who's the AAA of Oakland A's. Chris Buchek, who I occasionally see updates from his wife on Facebook, but I don't have close contact with him. And then Shane Newman, who was who's a college coach. He was living outside of Dallas, Texas, and now lives. He just moved outside of Houston, and I still talk to Shane pretty regularly.
Yeah. So they're still living with the baseball,
Yeah.
basically. The time you played in Lotte was the actually the most peak moment of the organization in KBO. Last 20 years, to be honest. So the first year, you guys finished at 4th place and qualified in playoff. And your second year, you guys were 2nd place, and your last year was 4th, which you guys went 3 years in a row to the playoff. So, any stories with your first year keeper, Jerry Royster? And you've mentioned that the defense at the time was the best time in Lotte. Can you remind some of your memories of that time and about your teammates?
Obviously, Jerry brought me to Korea, and I'm really thankful for what he did. And when I was talking with you guys yesterday, I talked about Jo Sung-hwan and Hwang Sung-hoon, who I was the youngest player to have played in the KBO at that time. And they were very welcoming. I had great teammates, and we really were a team. You know, I didn't feel like as a foreigner that I was separated from the group. Internally within the players, I was very fortunate to have really, really good teammates. And, you know, like I said, whether it be Jo Sung-hwan or Hwang Sung-hoon, I played with Song Sung-joon in the States for a year. And so when he was with the Giants in 2005, we played together. And there was just a general group that came together. It was pretty special. You know, people talk about that as being, you know, one of the best Lotte eras of all time, and obviously it doesn't compare with the Trade One days. But you know, beyond that group of guys really shows what having a team means, and Jerry was a big part of that. But even after Jerry left, you know, Lee Dae-ho was an amazing player, and he's a great person, but from a glue standpoint, there were a lot of other pieces that I don't think that people understood existed. And like I said, Hwang Sung-hoon and Jo Sung-hwan were huge factors in that. And even beyond that, we had some young guys, Kang Min-ho and So Na-sup, Jeon Jun-woo. You know, you look back at that team and you go, no wonder they were so good. They had great players, but we also had great leaders.
Who was your infield squad at the time?
Well, we started with Dae-ho at 3rd and Park Ki-hyuk at short, and Jo Sung-hwan at 2nd, and then Park Jong-yoon at 1st. But Dae-ho moved to 1st when we got Hwang Jae-gyun in a trade. Kim In-sung was kind of a utility guy at the time. I see Kim In-sung is back with Lotte. That's how you know things go full circle. But Kim In-sung was our utility infielder who got traded for Hwang Jae-gyun. And then Hwang Jae-gyun went to short, and Ki-hyuk went to 3rd, and we, you know, then Dae-ho at 1st. Jong-yoon would come in and be a defensive guy or a left-handed hitting, you know, late in the game. But we had a really good team. I mean, a really good infield, and you know, even Jang Sung-woo was our backup catcher.
Jang Sung-woo, KT.
Yeah. And he's won a championship since then. So, you know, you have Kang Min-ho as your starter, Jang Sung-woo as your backup. And then, you know, you talk about guys like Kim In-sung as being utility guys, and they end up being really good players in the KBO for a long time.
Interesting. At the time, I don't know about right now. Play a good baseball at the time. Like, what was the factor or strategy?
Well, I talk about this when I scout the Rockies. The Rockies are always saying, well, how do we deal with having the high
Hitters field.
elevation and the big, and I say you get the best players and you work with what you have. I was a ground ball pitcher, so playing in a small stadium was not a huge factor for me. But even somebody like John Lejeune, who was a fly ball pitcher and gave up a lot of home runs,
Yeah.
he was still better than the other guys.
Right.
So it didn't matter that we played on a field that wasn't perfect for him. But then you saw him go to Doosan and his numbers got better. But yeah, Sajik is a small field, but our pitchers understood, like, hey, your ERA is going to be higher, but we're going to still. Our goal is not to have the best personal stats, and this is what I'm talking about with Hong Sung-hoon and Joseph Won and Song Seung-ju, like all the leaders of the team. Our focus wasn't on individual stuff. It was how do we win as a group, and how do we do things the right way. So when I pitched as a ground ball pitcher, we put a little bit better infield defense in. When Jang Won-jun pitched, who was a fly ball pitcher, maybe a little bit less infield defense, but more power. So that was how we were structured and how we went about winning baseball games. It wasn't individual; it was team.
There's one thing that called Sandowski report back in 2013 World Classic, and your high quality of your Korean skills became a hot topic in Korea, I think, at that time. And then after that, in 2015, you returned as an employee to Lotte, and it says with the players development department first. So as far as we know, you've worked as an international scout for a long time with Lotte and Kia after your career. So can you tell us what did you do after your career? And can you mention about who are the one you have scouted to the club?
Yeah, well, in 2013, I broke my elbow, and Hensley Mullins was my hitting coach in AAA when I was with the Giants, and he was the manager for the Team Netherlands in the 2013 WBC. So that's how that all came together.
When you were with San Francisco?
When I was in San Francisco. And I just did that as a favor to a friend, and he's the one that publicized it. And so I had no intention. People don't know this, and you guys are going to have new information today in this. I did the same thing for Team Israel when Team Israel beat Team Korea in the following WBC, because that's where I met Dan.
Yeah.
And so those are just, that just never became public. And so Bam Bam, Hensley's nickname is Bam Bam. Bam Bam just asked me for a favor, and I did him a favor. And
So that was your own analysis?
Yeah.
About Korean team?
about Korean teams. But overall, when you're scouting, although that didn't make Korea look real good at the time, I think Korean baseball is where it is right now because they were pushed. Now you see every team has foreign scouts. Teams are using bigs. You're seeing the growth of scouting. You're seeing the growth
The system.
of the system. And if the 2013 WBC doesn't happen, Korea doesn't find a need to do advanced scouting. They don't find a need. It's the same idea as the cheerleaders. Game evolves because somebody's always trying to do it better. If you're not trying to do it better, somebody's getting better. And that's always my mentality. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now, because it's a better system than just having one or two scouts. And that's my feeling on the 2013 WBC. I know that there are some Korean fans that resent me for it, but I think in hindsight, it's been better for the game in Korea that happened. A lot of people remember my first three players with Lotte, who were Josh Lindblom, Brooks Raley, and Jim Aducey, who all went back and played in the major leagues afterwards, which was a really cool thing to watch those guys progress. But Andy Burns, who now works with our group, went back and made the playoff roster with the Dodgers after he left Lotte. And Parker Markell, although he didn't have success with Lotte, he never played in the major leagues when he came to Korea. And then the following year, he got to the major leagues with Seattle. So it's been fun to see and talk to those guys. Parker just reached out to me the other day, asking me just what I was doing, and he was surprised to hear I was in Korea. But even beyond that, Nick Addison, who didn't have success here in Korea, I just saw him in Taiwan, and he's the pitching coach for the CTBC Brothers.
Okay.
And yeah, a lot of the players that I've signed have gone on to have successful careers on and or off the field. And I'm trying to think about some of the other guys. Carlos Asuaje is now the hitting coordinator with the Dodgers.
Oh, okay.
I don't talk to Carlos much. I see him on Facebook occasionally.
Okay.
But I know he's more connected now with Andy Burns because they both they have the Dodger connection somewhere along the line. But yeah, there are a ton of guys that have come through the KBO and come through Lotte. And then with my time with Kia, there was Drew Gagnon, he was the player of the year last year in Taiwan. And he's the highest paid foreigner in Taiwanese history.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And then there's Aaron Brooks, who's pitching in the major leagues right now with Oakland. And obviously he had a lot of success with Kia his first year. And then Daniel Mengden, I just saw pitch with the brothers in Taiwan. So there are just, I know I'm leaving somebody out, and I'm going to feel bad that I left somebody out that I still keep in contact with. But
There's still
Jake Thompson.
so that's right. Jake Thompson was with Lotte for the 2019 season, I believe.
yeah.
And ground ball pitcher
Ground ball pitcher.
with a rough defense that year. And Jake went back to the States. I know he had some success playing in winter ball.
I met him this winter playing DR.
Okay.
Winter ball.
Yeah, I think he's kind of a winter ball hero at this point. Like he's played for a long time in winter ball and had a lot of success there. And Jake, I didn't get to know Jake quite as well because he was with Lotte for just that one season, which was not a good season for Lotte at all. But I'm glad, like I said, I want them to have success with Lotte, but when they're good people, I just want to see them have success.
Yeah, his FIP was good at the time.
Right. Well, I'm sitting here with Daesung, who's the data analyst, and he talks about guys' FIPs and BABIPs, and there are a lot of those things that I think Korean fans will look back at, and they'll look at some of the players that were in the KBO that were perceived to not be real good players, and they'll go back and look at somebody like Jake Thompson, who had a really good FIP, and they'll say, this guy was better than we thought he was. But FIP was not a commonly assessed stat. Now Daesung and I knew at the time that was a stat, but this is the evolution of the game. And
It wasn't common.
it wasn't common at the time, and the team moved on from a player, not necessarily because he wasn't a good player. I'm sure that if you were to take Andy Burns' DRS, defensive runs saved, he was an elite player. Like the number of runs that he saved compared to the offensive runs created, if you were to balance him out, that's the reason why he got back to the big leagues with the Dodgers, because he was such a valuable defender.
How about Gibran?
Felix went to go play in Taiwan for a while, and
After
I think
KBO?
after the KBO. I don't know what he's doing now.
Mexico League.
He's in Mexico.
Yeah,
right?
he's a ranker.
He's got a huge family. I don't know how he still plays with that many kids. But he was a big family guy. I know he was living in South Carolina last time I talked to him.
We found out that Korean Wikipedia, what it says, and some articles back in days are a little different, doesn't match. Have you read about it before? And what it says is, if this is not disrespectful to you, but it says that you've been scouting the guys from your agency or your cooperate company like agency, and that was the guy, like you pick guys mainly from them.
Well, it's definitely a false statement, but it's also something that, when you look at the internet nowadays, you can't necessarily, when it comes to Wikipedia, you have to understand that that's not fact, that's fan entertainment. And those are stories. It's like watching a movie. Some of the story might be true, but a lot of it you're watching as entertainment. And when it comes to selecting foreign players, and this goes with the good, the middle, and the bad, there are certain players that do really well and you get the credit for them, and there are certain players that do really bad, and as a foreign scout you get the blame for them. But those players are selected by the group. They're not individually selected. And as a foreign scout, you are responsible for the signings, but they're selected not just by one person. It would be the same thing as like a government decision. Like
From
they're
group
not,
decision.
yeah, and so, you know, I obviously had input, but not every time when we selected a player was it my first choice, and sometimes it was my first choice. But collectively, that's the way decisions come about in organizations. They're not like, it's not a dictatorship where one person just makes the decision and goes, this is who we're getting and it's done with. So, you know, whether it comes to Josh Lindblom, who I've gotten a lot of credit for signing, or whether it comes from Parker Markel, who I got a lot of backlash for signing. They weren't my decisions individually. They were done by the group, and I take responsibility for Parker Markel more than I do for Josh Lindblom. But at the same time, they're really done by a collective group. So for somebody, or for when you read the Wikipedia articles, to have that kind of let's just call it a story. It's a story. It's not the way things work, and that's not the way things happen. It's not one person saying, "Oh, we need to sign this guy because he's represented by Scott Boras," or "We need to sign this guy because, you know, Jerry Maguire is his agent." That's not how it works. It goes because we go through players, we comb through them, and we say these are the guys that we like. And I think I've told Andy Burns this story. If it weren't for the fact that Drew Robinson was put on the roster the day before the 40-man rosters were fit, Andy Burns would not have been a Lotte Giants giant. It would have been Drew Robinson. And I can't remember who Drew Robinson's agent was, but it was different than whoever Andy Burns' agent was. And so, you know, you have those situations and you have these guys ranked out on lists and the cards fall as they fall.
So as a scout timeline, the situations changes every single day, every single time.
Yes, but when you read Wikipedia, I encourage everyone to go read it because it's fun to read, but it's not right.